Hello! I was just reading something and the music faded away, and I realized that meant the intro was done and it was time to be live. Alive, ho. Yes, here we are. I had a little break of one whole day, and no, wait, it was Saturday night, date night? I'm getting confused, I think. And I am easily confused. I just need to put that out there. I'm easily confused. So we shall let that go. I know I wasn't on last night. I know I am on tonight. And rocking and a rolling through the rest of the week, most likely. Heist, hello there. How are you this fine evening? A very warm day in Melbourne today. I don't know about the rest of the country, but it got real warm today, over 30 Celsius. Outside it's still 30 Celsius, apparently. Over 29 anyway. And it's not going to cool down that much overnight. 28 tomorrow. What do we got? Then it is going to cool down. It's going to rain and cool down. Ooh, and then maybe really hot on Sunday again. Who knows? Well, look at it. Talking about the weather. That's some exciting online discourse to be having. Getting on to interwebs and talking about the weather. Oh, the weather or no, things are going to be okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm in Melbourne. We're 10th straight day of no new COVID cases, no deaths, which, given the turmoil of only a month ago and the stress of, we're not going to hit the targets, seems absolutely surreal. But here we are. New South Wales is still having little problems, and then they're only little ones. They're eminently manageable problems. I mean, when a city of a couple of million people, only gets 1 to 5 community transmission cases a day, I mean, you're doing pretty friggin' well. There's bound to be some that aren't being detected, but that's pretty good. Is significant. I think it's a significant majority of returning overseas visitors, or actually residents returning from overseas. I think a significant majority of them are landing in Sydney and going into quarantine in Sydney. So when you hear about there being 5, 6, 7 cases, usually most, if not all of those, are actually contained in quarantine. There's someone who's returned from overseas and has tested positive while they're in quarantine. And it's not bad. Abigail, is that my everything hurts, or you're just trying not to overshare? Or was YouTube censoring you? Hello, Kirsten. How are you this fine evening? Yes, Sydney quarantine survivor. You tested negative. Considering you came from what was then Plague Town, aka Melbourne, I think you would have been eyed warily somewhat as a potential character. That's what I thought, Abigail. It might have been fill in the blank that your everything hurts. I'm sorry to hear that, and I hope relief comes soon. But then again, no, I don't suffer from chronic pain. Every now and then I fuck something up, but that's not chronic pain. My knees aren't great, but I'm familiar with people having chronic pain. AD, for instance, having had absolutely hideous chronic pain every single day for 20 years. I think I'm going to sneeze. Something's just tickling my nose. Okay. Notice my COVID safe sneezing into the crook of my arm? Yes, I'm fucking on board with COVID safe. There's an ant crawling on my laptop. That was disconcerting. So starting... It's fibromyalgia. Okay, yeah, no, that so it certainly isn't going away anytime soon. And that's what chronic pain's like. Yes, Gecko, there is daylight outside my house. Getting more and more of that every day, as the saying goes. When is the solstice? Not solstice. Yes, sorry, that is what I meant. Where's my laptop fucking around? 21st of December. So there's still more than a month to go. There's going to be more and more sunlight for the next month, and then it'll slowly start receding. So, yes, a month from now, the whole first hour of the live stream will be in daylight. So, und yes, we'll be in summer. It'll be hot and I'll be miserable. I don't like hot weather. I mean, there's air conditioning in the house, which is kind of reliable and kind of not. So I may or may not be miserable. My fucking electricity bill is going to go up this summer. I've been home all day. But of course, that's offset by not paying for public transport and very rarely buying takeaway for lunch. Whereas I'm often super lazy when working in the cité and buy takeaway lunch. So there's a few things I'll be saving on, a few things will cost more. So yeah. Gecko had a bottle of wine. Inebriated, but not as bad as if you had some real booze. Speaking of real booze, I got my new Starwood whiskey today. Dolce, their sweet whiskey. And Kirsten's making scones. Nice to use your fancy machine. That's excellent stuff. So I, a little bit later, am going to taste test my Dolce. I might even get it out now because I think I might make a cocktail with it later. And I might take a picture of it to share on the Steve the Barman's, Steve the Bartender's Facebook page. Gecko, can I invest in solar panels? I rent, so it's difficult, but I could probably negotiate things. Abigail, your electricity will be an awful. Rising prices, home learning. Yep. You are not alone. Having to choose between electricity and shopping and whatnot. And thanks to the fucking neoliberal destruction of our power supply, it's just kept getting more and more expensive, despite those lying fucking sacks of shit saying competition will increase and that means prices will go down by definition. You fucking lying, thieving sacks of shit. I mean, there was a thing a couple of I just say hi-ho, Annette. There was a thing a couple of years ago. The government or the regulator decreed another change to electricity supply, and it was, I don't know, something they're talking about. It was, to increase competition in resale or whatever, and it's going to bring prices down. Except this new thing that they decreed, all the electricity companies had to do, cost the electricity companies millions, and I mean millions of dollars to implement. It was something to do with metering, and it cost millions and millions of dollars to implement. And do you think the electricity companies just went, oh, we'll just absorb that cost? Did they? Fuck. They straight away went, oh, well, it's now costing, we had to invest this much in this thing the government mandated, so we will just pass that cost on to consumers. It's like the biggest fucking load of fucking horse shit. Gecko, I should buy a house. Yes. Why don't I go to Houseyland where they shoot houses out of house cannons and they're just there for the taking? A house in Melbourne costs many millions of dollars. At least anywhere I want to live. Yes, it's not a particularly practical option, although Mrs. Angry does own an apartment, so when we retire, we can live there. But yes. Yes, Gecko, exactly. Like when the credit card companies raise their charges to retailers, retailers just go, well, just pass that straight on to consumers. Yes, I did see that, Abigail. We're getting an even bigger Tesla battery than South Australia did. That really boosts the opportunities for investments in renewables, given, of course, that a battery can store the energy, doesn't have to pump it all straight out. And that could well bring prices down, which would be nice. So, but, we wait with bated breath to see what the ever-loving fuck is going to hip in. I am going to... What am I going to do? I'm going to get the Dolce out and take a picture of it. Put it in the fridge to chill. Because the fucking delivery dude left it in the sun. And I'm going to take a picture to put on my Facebook. Oh, wait, that's not what I want to do. I want to do that. All right. Maybe get a shot glass and taste this, actually, because I haven't tasted it yet. All right. All right. Ugh. Okay. Let's taste our Starwood Dolce. It's described on the packet: dried fruit, toasted marshmallow, cola characteristics. Starwood Projects is where our distillers experiment and create flavour-forward, unique expressions of Australian whiskey. Dolce, Italian for sweet, is matured in barrels that held an Australian interpretation of a Sicilian dessert wine. Single malt whiskey with a sweet yet balanced profile. There you go. So they say all these things about the flavors. I bet I can't taste any of those things. They always have this colourful thing. Ooh, notes of blah, 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 blah. And I'm going, that tastes like whiskey. Take the little seal off. Pop the little Starwood cork, or stopper more than cork. There we go. Satisfying pop. Very whiskey nose. Very whiskey colour. There we go. Put that aside for now. It's a very whiskey colour. It's light. Some whiskies are darker than that. Lura Jane, 4 a.m. for you. Should be sleeping. Grab yourself a glass of whiskey and have yourself a shot. That might help you sleep. Actually, that's a terrible recipe for sleep. Alcohol is a terrible recipe for sleep. I'm not quite doing a shot, just enough to taste it. It's definitely sweet. There is the initial sweetness of it is really noticeable. Oh, there you go, Kirsten. The stoppers are called teacaps, and you imported them from Italy. There you go. That is a teacap. Got to stop doing that breathing in thing afterwards. I breathe in the vapors and it makes me cough. The whiskey didn't make me cough. Oh, it's very warm going down. Yeah, it tastes like a dessert. I mean, it tastes like whiskey, but there's edges of dessert. Gecko, you're going to have to order Starwood online because you're going to get it locally. Yeah, kind of worth it. Ooh, wow. Lyra Jane got some peppermint whiskey, super sweet and strong. This is only slightly sweet, and it's higher alcohol by volume than most whiskeys. 48%, I think. 48% as opposed to the standard is about 40%. So it's slightly lower than the Fortis, which is 50%. This one, Gecko, I'm almost sure won't be available overseas. It's a limited run and would be super expensive if anyone stocked it overseas. Yeah, the other Starwoods are available in various places. Shieldsy in Queensland use wind turbines and solar to pump water uphill to dam to use in off-peak hours to make power from hydropower. That is a good thing. That is a very good thing. We need to be doing that more and more. Abigail, true, it is the middle of NAIDOC week. Liberal government just voted not to hang the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander flags in Parliament. That's because they're pieces of shit, and they are increasingly pandering to the extreme right because they are particularly enamored of Trumpism, and they don't want a splinter right party to form that might get any traction, because that's just taking votes away from them. So they are increasingly pandering to the extreme right. Oh, I see, Gecko. There was other Starwoods similarly, but those stores weren't shipped store to store. Boo to them, I say. Boo and fie to them. It was really interesting to me. One thing about COVID has let me know that licensing laws are really restrictive in some parts of the world. Like, I thought they were restrictive in Australia. And they've been pretty cool with relaxing them in lockdown periods here. Like, oh, yeah, just get shit delivered, whatever, you know. And a number of people in different parts of the US in particular have told me they got, really quite what seemed to me quite odd restrictions on sale and distribution of alcohol. But anyway, it's easier to get guns than interesting alcohol in a lot of places. Did Australian people have any celebrations when Biden was called? I think people were happy. The same as the US. Conservatives were unhappy. Non-conservatives were happy. I didn't see any particular celebrations here. Definitely going to put this in a cocktail in a bit to see what it's like. I'm going to do this, a cocktail I made the other day, the video for which is going on my YouTube channel tomorrow. The Armistice cocktail, it being Armistice Day tomorrow. And I made that with rye whiskey, which is profile-wise really different to Dolce. It's a spicy rye whiskey as opposed to a sweet single malt whiskey. And it was really good when made with the rye. So I'm intrigued to what it'll be like made with that. Shieldsy talking about Trump. There are a lot of fuck off videos going on around Twitter and YouTube. Yep, there are. That is true. Gecko, a lot of the restrictions on alcohol in the US are from blue laws, which are religious laws. That's right. And they get thrown out of court if they're ever challenged. Speaking of people who get thrown out of court if ever challenged, it's AZ.
Hey,
good, man. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Good way to get thrown out of court is just to vomit. The moment you get on the stand, you shakily take the books of faith and then hurl.
Nice.
And then the judge person will often go, get this person medical assistance and
get them out of here.
Clean up, get the cleaners in. And the prosecutors go, when are we going to hear this case? Well, obviously when he's, fit to be tried,
When he's not throwing up.
And then next time you get in there,
projectile vomit.
Yeah. It's good. It works. It's good.
And then when you get off scot-free because the judge says, why do you keep vomiting? You go, I don't know. I'm allergic to dickheads. I'm sitting too close to you. And the judge goes, ha, 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 you're a card. Let him go free. That's what happens. Yes? No? Maybe?
That and contempt of court.
Yeah. And thrown in a cell, and which is almost like being set free.
Funny charges in the Westminster system where you can be thrown into jail for, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just you go into jail for 6 months, I'll see you later. You can be a smart ass, but not in here.
Yeah.
See you later.
Yeah. My personal favorite is always people getting arrested, and the only charge that comes up is resisting arrest. And it's going, that's always at protests. But what? Because the protest wasn't actually illegal. And so when the cops fucked you up, you were unhappy, and they shout, stop resisting, as they punch the shit out of you. And then that's the only thing that sticks, resisting arrest. Oh, insulting a police officer. What was the assault? Look at my knuckles. His head was really hard. And
yeah. Look at that. It hurt a lot.
You think I'm joking? There are cops who have successfully prosecuted people for that. But yeah,
they've prosecuted injury and assault from punching people's hard, rude head.
Yeah.
The cops used to call. They used to say, "Go and arrest blah." What for? And they used to say, "Oh, possess rude head."
Well,
and
virtually everyone in the Commonwealth has that type of law, public order laws or summary offences laws, where the cops can get away with just saying, he needed off the streets. And honestly, sometimes it's not terrible. But the fact that they have that power is really disturbing, and they fucking abuse it. But
they do.
They literally just go, wanted him off the street.
At the same time, too many people make it easy for the cops with that abusive power to abuse it. They do stupid things like when the cops push them, they go, you can't do that, and they push back. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Just go jelly. Be pushed back, and then stand there. If you're protesting, say, don't say a fucking word. If you get pushed again, step back a couple of steps. It's not going to hurt you. Don't say a fucking word. In these days, we're lucky because we've got fucking cameras on everywhere all the time. There's phone cameras going all the time. So when you get arrested for resisting arrest and get thrown into court and you roll tape, a judge very quickly sees not a lot of resisting going on. He was saying offensive language. I didn't see him move his mouth. He was saying it very quietly, sir, with his closed lips. And
he's a ventriloquist.
Yeah. And you can and he was violently protesting against being arrested while unconscious on the ground. And you'll walk away and then put in a bit of a counter of going to be looking for some injuries and some distress out of that. I think about 20 grand will do fine, and you'll get it. But too many people do stupid things like they'll taunt police at at a
Oh
protest,
yes. Oh
which
yes.
is, you know, if you say to a police person, "Please come and fucking hit me," they will.
Yeah.
If you if you if you make contact with them, if there's a line of you and a line of them, and you make contact with them, they'll do you over.
Yeah.
And they don't work one on one. They always work more than one on you. Like there's always two minimum, three or four. Stop listening. I've got my
What?
voice control on.
Oh, I wondered what that was about. No, I know that feeling.
Stop
That
listening.
is it
Oh,
working?
go to sleep. No, yeah,
No.
I might go crazily sideways at some point just because I said some random thing that triggers something.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, you know, and I say it again. I've had cops, I've had judges, I've had lawyers, because you know, being an attorney, you mix with all kinds of people.
All kinds.
Yes, all kinds of people. And they all say to me that the criminals walk themselves into jail. They every time will get in front of an interview and start talking, which is
Mhm.
done because anything you say basically will hang you.
Yes.
Anything you say will hang you, and
Yeah.
you you get people who think they know law. You don't. You're not a lawyer. You're not a solicitor. You're
Have
not a
you? There have
barrister.
been some videos of these conspiracy cockheads at their anti-lockdown protests getting arrested and starting to recite shit that they've read on Facebook that they think is real, and seeing the cops trying to keep a straight face, just like fucking what shit, dude, shit.
It's pretty hilarious too. You know, you get and then you get sovereign citizens, and it's you know, why would you even try that on?
Because they're not right in the head. That's it. They are not right in the head.
Let's make this real simple, Azzy. So
Yeah.
let's bring this down to simple, because they're stupid and they're right in the head.
Yeah.
I just, you know, the logic that just falls apart when you've got sovereign citizens. It's like, how did you learn to drive? I learned to drive in Australian cars on Australian roads with an Australian license.
Yeah.
So none of that applies to you. So you're not allowed to drive on Australian roads in Australian cars with an Australian license. Yeah, I
Yeah.
am because I'm a sovereign citizen, but you're not allowed to use the roads because the citizens pay for that and you didn't.
Yes.
So if you want to go on the roads, you have to pay $1,000 a meter. Can I have my $1,000 a meter now, sovereign citizen? No, because you can't tax me. No, okay, I won't tax you, but you're not allowed to use my road that I paid for. Also, I note that you're wearing clothes. Those clothes came through Australian customs, which you didn't pay for. So I'll have those clothes off you. Thank you. Straight away. Don't get back in the car. You don't have a right to drive on Australian roads.
Yeah.
Are you walking on the Australian roads? Oh, I'm sorry, you didn't pay for those roads either. That's $1,000 a footstep. Are you walking on government side of road? That's $25,000 for breaking of our environment. Jesus, I hope you're loaded. And don't jump that fence because that's private property.
Yeah.
You don't have a trespass, sovereign
Yeah.
citizen.
Yeah.
And you know, fucking if any of these sovereign citizens put any of this shit together, I did see a wonderful YouTube once of a judge effectively doing that to a sovereign citizen. This fucktard gets up there and goes, "Well, you can't do anything to me. I'm a sovereign citizen." Oh, right, of course. Sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. How did you get here today? Bailiff, start adding up.
Yes.
And the bailiff goes, and gets the book out and starts adding up. And the sovereign citizen is looking over going, because obviously the judge and the bailiff have done this before.
Yeah.
Start adding up. How'd you get here today? I drove here. Ooh. And every few sentences, where are you so far, bailiff? $25,681, man. And eventually, of course, the sovereign citizen asks what's going on. It's like, well, we don't tax you because that's wrong. You're a sovereign citizen, but you've used all of these US services. So we're going to be charging you for every single one you've used.
Yeah.
I understand on the day of the offence that you were on the road as well. So that's another $25,000, isn't it? Yeah, $25,000 there. So if you got this money, because if you have, you're laughing. If you don't, maybe we should do it my way.
Yeah.
Which is $1,600 and a lot less.
Somewhat like a mutual acquaintance, someone you introduced me to, who had that little misadventure in Geelong. We won't mention her name, but she complicated things besides getting into the sovereign citizen stuff when the cop said, "Show me your license," because he realized the car wasn't registered. She goes, "I don't need them. I am a multi-dimensional being from another galaxy." At which point the cop assumed she was high, which may well have been true. And said, "Out of the car," and she made clearly to drive off while he was standing at the window. And so he lunged in the window trying to get the keys out of the ignition, and she accelerated off while he was half in the car and dragged him down the street, which is what we call in the trade bad fucking move. She actually got jail time out of that, not just for the stupid shit. That's assault of a police officer.
She fucking complains about it.
Yeah, but stupid people are like that.
She complains about it. Dragging a copper 500 meters along a road.
Yeah. And she didn't stop with the bullshit in court either. She didn't suddenly get sensible in court. Just kept saying really stupid shit to the judge about, "You have no jurisdiction over me." And the judge is like, "Cool, I'm taking that as guilty."
Yeah.
How'd you go?
So that's not a defense per se. Because I kind of have a lot of jurisdiction over you.
Yeah.
Like an amazing amount of jurisdiction over you.
Yeah, I think she got contempt charges on top of everything else, but yeah.
There's a Muslim family in Bankstown.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't stand for...
Yes, for the judge. Yep, I remember that one too, yep.
And the first time they did, they got away with it. But the second time they did, the judge said, "Okay, enough is enough. We gave you the opportunity to go away and read the rule book. You've read the rule book because you've all signed that you've read the rule book. And you didn't stand. Oh, we don't stand up for anyone, but yes, you do stand up in a court of law for the judge. It's basically part of your obligations. And I'm inviting you to do it now. And if you don't, you're going to get contempt of court and you're going away." And they didn't. And they picked up 3 months apiece.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a shock to the system? No fucking ifs, ands, or buts. The bailiffs grabbed him, dragged him down to the cells, stripped him.
Yeah.
Fucking said, "Here's your clothes, here's your prayer mat, here's your Quran, see you in 3. And at the end of 3 months, a duty solicitor came and said, "What you're going to do now is write a really nice sorry letter. And if it's not sorry enough, you're staying.
You're going back."
And what you're going to do every time you get in a fucking courthouse is you're going to fucking stand up when the judge comes in.
Yeah.
technically speaking, they're supposed to fucking bow their head to the crown of the coat of arms as well.
Yeah.
But
That
they
one
let
doesn't
that
really get
go
enforced. Yeah.
for religious reasons. They let that go, and they
Yeah.
don't make people do it anymore. But they fucking used to.
Yeah.
And you'll see all the coppers do it, and you'll see all of the barristers and solicitors do it. You'll see the judge do it. But fucking don't be a dickhead. When the judge walks in the room, stand the fuck up. It takes 5 seconds. If you're in a wheelchair, they'll let you off. But don't fucking fucking, you know, I know my rights. Fuck me drunk. You don't.
I was about to say they usually don't. That's usually the sign of someone who does not know what rights they do and don't have.
You know, you don't know your fucking rights. You told your rights at the beginning of the process. Hi, you're under the fuck arrest. That's why you've got the special metal handcuffs on.
Yeah. I'm just going to say good night to Gecko, who's, well, actually it's morning for him, but he's going to bed, so good night.
No, Gecko.
And hi, Justin, who came in. How's things going with Democrats abroad at the moment? And Timothy's pointing out, I named this live stream, it's the anniversary of the launch of Windows 1.0. Timothy says also the new Xbox Series X launched today, and it's the anniversary of the first iPod being released. So it's a big nerd day today.
It's nerd day today.
It is nerd day.
Nerd day. Yeah. I've been teaching my computer how to listen to me make a letter.
Nice.
It doesn't understand some words, but it's getting there. It's getting there slowly, but fucking surely it's getting there. And it's a lot fucking quicker than me typing.
It's a brilliant fucking option, yeah. And
I'm learning. The trickiest bit is to get it to. You've got to get the syntax just right, and it'll do what you want.
Yeah.
But if you fuck it up, if you say go to the end of the line, it'll type out go to the end of the
line. Yeah.
If you say move to the end of the sentence, it'll move the cursor to the end of the sentence. Move forward 3 words, it'll 3 words, and then select that, delete that, or undo this, or undo that, or and you've got to, as long as you get the syntax right, it's really good.
Excellent.
It's got to listen to more of me to understand my accent.
Yeah,
I understand.
Yeah. Yes. They learn. Yeah.
It doesn't know the difference between here and air. It has trouble with funny little words, and I'm going to check again to make sure that it's not on US English.
Yeah.
And to make sure it's on Australian English, but I don't think I've got that option. It might only be UK English.
Yeah.
Which is closer anyway.
Yes, it is. It is.
US English.
And good evening, Nobody, as well, by the way.
G'day, Nobody. How you going?
And Justin tells us Democrats abroad are over the moon with the results of the presidential election.
I can't imagine why they wouldn't be.
Fucking massive relief.
Didn't I say, remember when it was predictions time and I said that fucking Trump would go out kicking and screaming?
Yes.
And you'd have to drag him out by the fingernails, and he's going out kicking and screaming by the fingernails.
So far, yes. Yeah.
By this time he'd have fucking settled down, but no, it's only getting fucking worse. And then I read a little op-ed, and basically it listed fucking who he's into for lots of dough, like lots of dough.
Oh, hundreds of millions.
Chinese for $200 million.
Yeah.
And they're going to want it back.
Yeah.
He's into fucking various different nations for money, personally, not
Yeah,
not
yes,
America.
that's the thing. How did he get on the hook personally? What sort of idiot is he?
Right? Not America owes $200 million.
Yeah,
Donald Trump owes $200 million. And Donald Trump, as president, right, as fucking president, went out and got these fucking loans for Donald Trump.
yeah.
And that, I don't know if you're onto this, but that is highly
Illegal.
illegal
Yes.
to the point of being almost fucking treasonous.
It,
And
it it's close. It is actually close. Abuse of office.
fucking apparently the FBI and the DOJ is lined up. They're just fucking waiting
Hope
for
so.
November 21. Sorry, January 21.
January 21.
And
yeah. Oh, by the way, hi, more core bro on Twitch. Sorry, because we're broadcasting to Twitch as well. Most people, for your information, more core bro are actually on YouTube, streaming to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, just for fun, just to see who's there and what's what and that type of thing. Hi, Celtic King as well. Justin, Trump will not refuse to leave by Inauguration Day. I actually think it's more likely that he'll just fucking disappear from the White House and say, I'm not doing the job anymore. He'll disappear before he's meant to.
Probably. He'll probably
I think that's more likely.
He'll probably get out of the country.
Because it simply isn't an option for him. There is no one with any loyalty to him to cause trouble. So
do you know what I had this little fantasy in my head, right?
Yeah.
It's only in my head, it's only a little
just fantasy. Yeah.
Right. That he would all of a sudden call a snap tour to Switzerland or Saudi Arabia in Air Force One with his family.
Yeah.
And go. And then Air Force One would come back without being Air Force One. It would be Air Force Flight 20071 as it landed at Trump and family would stay in Switzerland and or Saudi Arabia because that guy want to be somewhere without extradition. He want to be somewhere with monetary hiding capabilities. So he want to be able to get hold of his Cayman and Swiss bank accounts.
Yeah.
And he want to be somewhere without extradition because he's in shit. He's in shit.
Yeah. He's potentially in loss. But again, this is where I think as he whips up shit like he's doing now, you'll get a lot of people encouraging him. And then a lot of people, and he'll say, I could stay here and still do more of my rallies and fleece these losers for money because they're so stupid they just give me money. And I think his ego might get the better of him and he'll be stupid enough to stay and be really public, and which makes it real likely he's going to get nailed.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right about the ego getting the better of him.
Yeah.
His advisors have got to be saying shit like crack open the dragon egg.
Yeah.
And fucking start fucking getting rid of some of this excruciating fucking fraud that you're up for. Because it's all sides now.
Yeah.
And he's no longer president, so no one needs to suck his cock anymore. Because he can give them no advantage. And he's going to learn. And this is what blows my mind with these people.
Yeah.
Right. And I've seen this over and over again. In fact, I've seen it just recently. These people take advantage of people and throw them away when they're no longer any advantage to them. And he's going to find himself thrown away and be gobsmacked that he's being thrown away. Like, how could they do this to me? And without a whisper of him going, oh, I've done that to people for 50 years. Without any of that going through his head, he's going to find all of these people that were using him to get access to White House strings. All of a sudden have burnt their undeniable bridges to him, and he's going to be shocked at the disloyalty that he's experienced from these ungrateful bastards, and he also will be starting to think of the American people as ungrateful bastards, which is where I think your fleecing comes in. And I think, yeah, he has got the ego to hang around and go, give me more money because I'm the poor boy who got badly treated. And you know who by, dog whistle, dog whistle. You know who did it, dog whistle, dog whistle. You know, they're in the White House now in the form of not the president. You know who I'm talking about? People who haven't got enough education and who are up for blaming other people and races for their problems.
There's a bit of that.
And, you know, fuck, the small amount of research I've done and the large amount of fucking distorted view I've been listening to has exposed me to the sheer racism of white America, and it is
crazy stuff,
mind blowing. And when Trump first got in, they were just I'm gonna say N-wording up the place. I don't like the term the N-word. I don't like that because it makes it easy to say nigger.
Without taking responsibility. It
takes the responsibility out of it. It makes it clean, and it's like it's not clean, guys. It's dirty. It's ugly, and it's horrible. It's meant to maintain a level of predisposition to superiority that you don't own. It's meant to claim superiority that's not there. And it's worked for 400 years. And so I don't like the N-word because I get how the compromise is that you get American black folk saying, well, it basically stops people saying nigger altogether, but they don't.
It's still kind of rare publicly, but you know they're all thinking it is what.
Well, and it's not. That's the thing is, it's not fucking rare publicly.
We've seen so much video since Trump, because that's that podcast you like. He always finds outrageous bits of video and audio to play, and ever since Trump came in, every week there's a new video of someone just randomly, for no reason, with no provocation, just attacking someone with homophobic or racist slurs because they feel absolutely confident doing it because their president told them they were in the right. And
because the world is the right way around again. Right. The first big sign was all the preppers were when Obama got in, all the preppers were going, right, it's time to get the last little bits of your getaway, your bunker finished. Because when it hits the fan, when the end times are coming, and you've got to be ready to go, and they were discussing alternate routes out of the city to get to your prep cabin. Or prep bunker, and it was it wasn't very it wasn't even very hidden. It was all basically, well, there's a nigger in the White House now, so we all know that it's gone to hell.
In the open at Republican conventions, they were selling like T-shirts and postcards that said, "Do we still call it the White House?" And they had a White House garden full of watermelons, and it's just like, just the dumbest racist shit. And it was in the open. It wasn't behind closed doors. It was in the fucking open. But Safar, hello, good evening to you. Thank you for joining. He points out something. I did see a video today. A Fox News host cut off Trump's press secretary because she's just on this insane rant saying that the Democrats are actively involved in fraud and they're actively involved. And he just came across and goes, okay, that's not a thing you can just say. Okay, there's no evidence for that whatsoever. I'm going to cut her off because I can't in good conscience let that keep going to air when she's just making the most serious charge you can just about make with no evidence at all. And that can't be allowed. So the words come out from Rupert, Fox to Fox and other outlets. They've clearly been explicitly told, because the message has cascaded to all the News Limited properties. Trump is gone. Trump is dead. We need to send him messages like, "It's over, big guy. Be a big boy now."
Big boy pants.
And go. And like, it's across the board with the British tabloids, with the Australian tabloids, with Fox News and the American tabloids. Across the board, they're like, okay, he's gone, and that's a done deal. So,
and I also noticed that right from the outset, your more independent news outlets were saying Trump's been saying widespread voter fraud, widespread crime. None of these claims are stand up, or none of these claims are unfounded claims. And one of them I read said lies. One of them actually came out and said lies, and I read through it a few times, and I thought, that's strong. Saying lies is strong. And then I looked at it and I thought, they've said lies because the information was actually available at the time that it was saying it, and he had to know. He had to know that what he was saying was a lie. Not fucking things that he'd heard. No. The information was on the fucking board next to him. And he's saying, fucking voter fraud. And it's like, no, mate, there's no voter fraud, dude.
No, there isn't.
It hasn't happened. It's not real. It's not there. And you've lied for the purposes of and what's clearly happened here is he's got caught on the hop. He thought he had another 4 years. To get his shit together to fucking line his nest more.
Quite possibly, yes.
And fucking make all debts go off to other people.
Which is exactly how he plays it. Make someone else pay his debts.
And he hasn't had time to make other people wear the debt. And he hasn't had time to fully fleece the American public, though he's done a fucking good job.
No, he's ripped off many millions of dollars, but not enough to keep everything. Hey, also the media stuff, even locally. Justin was bringing up a thing I shared on the socials. Andrew Bolt's latest column is titled "Bragging Donald Trump Threw This Election Away." And then he says, "Damn Donald Trump for throwing away this election. Conservatives around the world will now pay for his ludicrous bragging, bullying, and lying. Trump would have won if he just acted like a president, if he'd acted with dignity and discipline." So everything Bolt had aggressively cheered along with for the last 4 years, everything Bolt had said was hilarious and fuck your feelings if you're upset by it. Now he's been told, say the exact opposite of what you've said every column for the last 4 years.
Wow.
And he's just done it. He's just gone.
Rupert, you're out in the cold.
Yeah.
That's it. Smash.
Yeah. So, and when you see what Fox is doing and what all the tabloids around the world doing, they've clearly been given explicit instructions. This is what you say. This is what you do. This is what you print. This is what you read on air. Okay. Everyone, no one back this insane bullshit. No one. He's gone. Power's
He's
gone.
gone.
He's over. So don't humiliate us, okay?
Yeah.
As long as he was
no
in
more
power,
throwing money down the hole.
yeah.
No more
So as long
throwing
as
money down
he
the
was
hole.
in power, we could do the stupidest shit imaginable because he was in power. The day he loses power, we just fucking. But all the rats are leaving the sinking ship. Just about, like, most of the mainstream Republicans are just not saying anything because they just want him to go away, and they're also paranoid if they publicly say, "What a piece of shit," with all those lies, he's fucked. They're worried about they'll get challenged in the next primary by some hyper right wing Trump supporter who'll beat them. So they're not saying anything. But and yes,
And there's also the risk of the Stalin factor too.
yeah,
You know, there is, you know, well, everyone said John Howard was dead. And then didn't he come back and hand out the punishment? Please excuse me for a couple of minutes.
You're excused, buddy. Yeah, I was going to say, Sebastian, I was also not fond of the way Bolt defended the Catholic Church and Pell and whatnot. But yeah. And hello, Stella. Good evening to you. Rambling Johnny, I think you're right that the Republicans are worried that there'll be a bit of a reckoning for all the shit for the last 4 years. So the vast majority of them won't support Trump and his insane shit because nothing good will come of doing that. But also, nearly all of them are too scared to speak against Trump because they're worried about ultra conservatives challenging them. Shields, do you think Fox might go under with Trump? So Fox will just go under when all their viewers die. Their average viewer age is over 60. But Trump can have a resurgence now because they're not going to be pro-Trump anymore, but they are going to be anti-Biden. They are going to spend 4 years blathering on with absolutely ridiculous rhetoric and just talking utter shite for the next 4 years and whipping up paranoid conservative people. So I think Fox will continue very much as they are now. And Safa, that is a big question. Where's Mike Pence? I've not heard or seen anything. Maybe he's in hospital with COVID. Who knows? But the fact, I actually know, I think I did see a public statement of him supporting an investigation into voting. And honestly, if you ask me, they're like, oh, just be consistent. If you think there is any actual evidence, then it should be investigated. You should present it to a court. And a court can either say, that's credible, or get the fuck out of here, you fucking idiot. Like, I heard they weren't even filing the paperwork right. The person filing the paperwork wasn't a lawyer. It was an accountant. And they filed the briefs to the court wrong because they're not even a lawyer. That's how fucking slipshod the Trump operation has become. But yeah, pretty fucking weird. Yeah, you look stunned.
They're fucking, everyone's a lawyer in America. You just have to take a bar exam.
So? How could Trump be short of lawyers?
Bar exam and you're in.
Yes. Yeah, like you actually don't have to go to university.
No, you just got to take an exam. You know, and
no one must give you a job. Yeah,
have fucking taken the bar exam, made themselves a lawyer, made their own business, defended criminals successfully.
Yeah.
One guy who was found out years after into a successful career, they said, where'd you go to uni learning your law? You're so out of the box. He said, I didn't go to uni, I just did the bar exam.
Yeah.
And they said, well, how did you win? He says, well, it's all about list management.
Yeah.
It's all precedents of law. As long as you basically look up the precedents of law pertaining to your case,
yeah,
you're and you remember the lists as you go down. This one,
Yeah.
that one, this one, this one.
Yeah.
You know, it's like choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
You fucking are on top of it, and the judge is on top of it because that's why they're a judge. And your opposing counsel usually has all the burden to that's why when you defense, because the opposing counsel, the prosecution has all the burden of proving that your
Yes.
guy did anything.
Yes.
And all you got to do is bring up reasonable doubt, and you're home and hosed.
Yeah.
But he got out because he got really good at defending rapists, and he went,
No.
I'm happy with this anymore. And
The
then he went into
American
corporate
system,
law.
yeah, that's much cleaner. Yeah, the American system's been completely debased by the plea bargain culture and the fact that district attorneys are elected, not on merit, and so they've always got to be seen to be tough on crime, and they need to have all these convictions. So they just, when there's a defendant, they just say, okay, here's the deal. If you plead guilty, and it goes, but I didn't do it. Yeah, but if you plead guilty, you get 6 months and you're done. You plead not guilty, you'll be on remand for 2 years, and then we'll run you into the ground and put you in for at least another 5. Okay. And I've got a 99% conviction rate. So what's it going to be? Door A, 6 months and out. Door B, you defend your honor and probably spend 5 to 10 years in jail, whether you're guilty or not. Okay. What's it going to be? And that, it's just become this sort of rotating door of just browbeating people into pleading guilty, no matter what the circumstances are. So it's pretty
it's funny here in Australia. You hear a lot of the younger kids go, "Oh yeah, I did this thing, but it's all right. I'll fucking not cop a plea." And then you get the older ones, the older crims or the older Australians going, "There are no pleas."
No, our system hasn't been subverted. What you do is you don't say a fucking word.
Right.
Because the coppers will tell you, if you tell us what your mate did, we'll look after you. And they go, okay, I'm going to live for you. Yeah, Steve-O done it. And they go, cool, wait here. And they walk into Steve-O and said, Steve-O, he just told us you've done it.
He just shot
You're
you,
in for 5 years. Do you want payback? You want to testify that he done it? And you go, fuck yeah, what a rat. And they get the whole gang, because criminals by and large are not smart. The movie myth of the criminal mastermind is a myth. They're just ruthless. They're not smart. They're
20
ruthless.
minutes. If they can split us up, 15, 20 minutes and they're all gone, because they immediately roll over on each other. They've got this honor code where they don't say a word about anything to anyone, which is bullshit. All it does is it protects the seniors, because the seniors roll over they throw the juniors under the bus instantly. Instantly, the juniors did it. And the juniors protect the seniors because they think that's going to make them a stand-up guy in prison. And 20 years later, it's a matter
of no one, no life.
You're no one with no money and no skills and no life skills and no fucking
and can't be employed because you're a fucking crim.
And you're fucking living in a halfway house with nothing. And you think that you're this sexy crim, and no woman will look at you. So the only sex you had for the last 20 years was gay, and not the way you liked it. So fucking, there's this supposed, oh no, I won't tell anyone anything, but they all do. They all shop each other
all the time.
They get a chance. Thinking it's going to help them out. And fucking the thing that you hear all the time is they say, if you give us this information, we will put a good word in for you with the judge. That's as much as we can do. And they say that quite honestly. And a good word in with the judge is they say, oh yeah, he confessed, we said we'd put in a good word. And the judge will then turn around to the prosecuting coppers and go, well, what's it worth? And the coppers will often go, nothing.
Nothing.
And he'll still get 25 years.
Yeah.
And go, fucking 25 years. Oh, it's going to be so much worse, man. You're going
It's going to be 50. Yeah.
Life. You know.
Oh no, Abigail. Sorry, you'll empathise with this, AZ. Abigail's been having chronic pain. Is going to have to leave us early. I hope it gets better. I know the man here can really empathise with someone going through chronic severe pain, chronic and acute at the same time.
If you're an anime fan, and I know you are, pick your third favoritist anime, and binge watch it while you are breathing deliberately as deeply as you can. Okay?
That's an interesting technique.
I promise you, breathe as deeply as you can. Breathe as deeply as you can. Breathe as deeply as you can, and keep on watching, binge watching your favorite anime. Until you see your eyes are nodding off, but keep going, keep watching, and breathe as deeply as you can. Breathe as deeply as you can, and keep watching, and your eyes will get slower and lower and lower, and keep watching, and keep watching, and keep watching, and keep watching.
Very hypnotic. I like it. Hey, another thing people.
If you can't get sleep, I promise there's a bit of magic for you. If you can't get sleep, what you've got to do is you've got to imagine two spheres. Okay, one of them is gold, and one of them is black, and they're spiky spheres. Okay, imagine they've got 8 spikes on them, and they're rotating really fast. Okay. And you look down a whirlpool. Could be cosmic whirlpool, could be a water whirlpool. Cosmic whirlpool's better. And you look down and they're rotating, and you watch these spheres spinning around. Okay. And you get yourself nice and relaxed, and you watch these spheres, and you see the gold one there, and then you swap it out for the black one. Then you swap it out for the gold one. Then you swap it out for the black one. And you swap it out for the gold one. You swap it out for the black one. And you go faster and faster and faster until they're both the same, gold and black at the same time. And it's very mesmerizing. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you just dive in after it, and you'll be asleep. It's a beauty. It works really well.
Nice.
Really well.
Nice. I'm just gonna make a drink. I'm just getting bits together.
So you should. You should make a drink.
Here's a fun one that people were bringing up in chat. Did you see the story about the press conference for Trump at the Four Seasons?
No, I did not.
Oh my God. Okay. I've got to tell you, because fuck me. This is the funniest shit. So Rudy Giuliani, Trump's useless mob boss looking lawyer, says, oh, we've got the evidence. And Trump announced, big press conference at Four Seasons. Okay, in this whatever city. The Four Seasons is a chain of motels. And they have conference centers. It's going to be a big press conference. Someone booked it at a place in this city called Four Seasons Landscaping and Gardening. And in like an episode of Veep, the person who's booked it has given them the address, and they've given the address out to the media, and they've gone to set up, and it's this pretty fucking ordinary Bunnings, and next to it are a crematorium and a sex shop. And they just acted as if they'd meant to do it all along. Like everyone's just gone, you thought you were at the Four Seasons Conference Center, didn't you? No, this is a good, honest business. We're meant to be. No, that isn't what happened. You were meant to be at the Four Seasons, not a Four Seasons. That's a thing that happened.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's brilliant. It is so good.
Oh, actually, one of the things I've always loved about Australian politics is they fuck up like that all the time, except they say they do. They say this is not where we meant to be, but we're here now and we're not going to move you. So fucking let's do this thing.
Yeah.
And oftentimes when they're out in the country doing a press conference, there's not all of the stations there. There's really only 2 camera people and 2 journos.
Yeah.
And all of the other networks have emailed them questions to ask the pollies. And sometimes the internet doesn't work in the middle of Australia.
Yeah.
And so you've got the ABC cadet kid who's been on a light plane since fucking 4 o'clock this morning going, I don't know what to do. And you've got a more seasoned journalist from 9 who goes, fuck them, I don't know these guys anything. I fucking travelled out here. And you've got the one sound guy who's agreed to give a feed to both cameras. And I saw one once. Labor was in government, and it got to the point where they were saying, "So, any other questions?" And they said, "Well, we'll answer some." And they were answering their own questions.
Yeah.
They were basically saying, "Well, when the question of blah 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 comes up,
our answer would be
our answer is to the question of blah blah blah. The answer is blah 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 blah." And eventually they were just laughing at it because basically they knew that they had 20 minutes of a free kick, and that's all there was. That was all the copy there was, and they had absolutely no challenging of anything. There was no figures challenging. There was no
it was just the sound bites they were given.
There was his talking points ahoy. And they were going to get on the very comfortable Air Force jets, and the journos were going to get in the fucking light planes for a 4-hour bumpy ride being attacked by fucking wedge-tail eagles. I saw video of that. It's on YouTube.
Yep.
Wedge-tail eagle attacks Cessna. There were 2 Cessnas flying formation, and you see this wedgie come in and fucking go this Cessna.
They're very territorial.
You see the pilot look out of the window and pull his head back in, and then start to whirl around the place. And on the radio they go, I think we might want to go round. And then they both dive down, disturbing the wedgie because they're going much faster than the wedgie like to go down. And then they just get out of there. But geez, they pulled out of the dive real low. And it's the middle of Australia, so I mean, it's not like there's any actual laws. And that's kind of with everything, really. Even the local coppers in the middle of Australia go, I noticed that Yarra McGully and Tony Biggins have disappeared. Yeah, boss, they went to Perth. Right. They were having a big fight over a girl, and their guns are missing from home. Yeah, boss, they went to Perth. I see. Is it not more likely that they might have killed one another out in the bush and you've buried them? No, boss, they went to Perth. You'll find them in Perth.
They're in Perth.
Right. And where's the girl? Oh, she's definitely in Darwin. Okay. Okay. Big bush, little grave. Not going to find them.
So we don't want any paperwork, he's saying.
It's like, fuck. I wouldn't be a copper out in the bush for love or money. Fucking the politics out there is just, forget it. Blackfella politics is brutal because you've got a feudal system that is effectively a bicameral house.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. It's a feudal system,
Yeah.
right? You've got hierarchy of families who are
Yes.
in power, but there's usually two or three that vie for that power, and they're constantly opposition and checking one another.
Yeah.
And down the pecking order, if you're low on the pecking order, then you're fucked. You get to do what you're told, or become a clever man, which is not much fun either, or a Kodacha man, which is frightening. Imagine like being trained as a ninja since you were 3.
Yeah.
Anyway, fuck, you would have seen on the news a few years ago now that they had the army and police tactical squads out in gunny suits looking for this black fella who was on the run in an area in New South Wales, and he was raiding country houses and holiday homes for rifles and food and for bits and
Right.
pieces.
Yeah.
And they all got suited up. And I remember my old man said, "Oh, fucking, what's this? We're in the fucking army. Fucking bullshit for fucking. They're only after one fucking guy."
Yeah.
And slowly, the word leaks out that this guy's killed 15 people on the run in 2 weeks. He fucking he raided one house 5 times before the owner woke up to him being in the house, and he killed him in bed next to his wife, and his wife slept through it. The family slept through it. The dog didn't stir. So this guy was running around these hills in the bush, and they were going, "We don't want this guy running around anymore because he doesn't give a fuck. He just kills people if they get in his way. He just doesn't care." He killed off 3 coppers randomly. Very, very, very dangerous guy. Kodacha man, very dangerous guy. And his tribe had given him up. They'd fucking gone. Well, they'd actually got him in jail. They'd said he's bad
He's
news.
a bad man.
Put him in fucking jail and put him in solitary and keep an eye on him because he's very clever and he's very dangerous. And apparently in jail he fucking killed very many people. And the files on him are really opaque. We're never going to find out everything about him because it will be an embarrassment to the government and it will be terrifying to humans. But he was Mr. Death, and apparently he was very charming and very friendly, and knew 6 languages. And he could walk into a shop and would smile at shopkeepers. And half the time they would fucking give him shit because he was a really friendly guy. And he would make up a completely different cover story for every shop he went into. And as the cops came around to fucking say, "Has this guy been here?" They go, "No. No." "Or have you seen any black guys around?" "Well, yeah." "Is there any new black guys around?" "Yeah," because I was finally catching up to what he was doing. "Yeah, there's a new guy. He's an architect from Brisbane. He's a landscape gardener from Perth. He's a fucking he's an accountant from fucking Adelaide. Fuck, he was great. He helped me with my books." You know, so he knew enough about whatever the hell he was talking about to just pass, which is part of the Kodacha training. And he knew enough also to scope out the shop entirely to whatever he needed and come back later. He would go through alarmed places. One of the things that made him very, very dangerous was he would go into gun shops
Right.
And in the morning, weapons and ammunition would be missing, and cabinets would be locked. The alarm was never turned off, apparently, and the doors were never opened. To the point where he used to get the cards that the security guards put into doors to show that the doors haven't been opened. You know, they fold a card and they put it in the door. He used to apparently be smart enough to get the card and put it back when he was done. He was somehow opening the doors and disarming the alarms and disarming the computer so that the alarm thought it was on the whole time. And he could open all these cabinets and he could just do his fill of going through and arming up.
Learn some skills.
So you don't want to tell the public there's a guy who can walk into a gun shop, which is supposed to be the most secure place in Australia, and fucking steal anything he wants at any time he wants, and waltz out with it. And now he's so armed that if you get anywhere near him, he can blow you away for days. And the other thing that he would do was he would raid veterinarians and he would raid chemists and he would raid doctors. And apparently he had a fuck ton of medical supplies and high-end medical supplies, to the point where forensics people went through and they looked at what he'd stolen, and they said he is getting ready to perform surgery on himself to the point of doing a bowel resection. Because if you get shot in the guts, you can get a septic wound very, very quickly. And one of the things that you've got to be able to do is cut yourself open, cut the piece of shot bowel out, re-stitch it together so it works, and then sew yourself back up again. And you've got to be able to do all of that while you're conscious. So you've got to know enough about drugs and your tolerance of drugs to fucking to get that done. And what he was also doing was stealing bags and bags and bags and bags of saline and the occasional bag of plasma. So he knew that if he got shot, he had to replace fluids.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I would want my tactical squads to fucking move in very carefully and arrest this person. I wouldn't want fucking to get anywhere near that. This guy apparently had no military training whatsoever, but the military was very interested in the tactics he was using because they differed from the military tactics, but they said we could learn a few things from this guy. He's obviously highly motivated and he's highly trained, and that was the thing that bothered everyone, is he's highly trained. And the tribe said, well, yeah, he's a Kadachi man. He's been trained since he was a kid. He's been trained to do special operations for tribes. And they're not pretty, and they are permanent. And they are not to be found out, and you are not to be caught, and no one's to know anything.
Stella's waiting for this yarn to become a Netflix series. You've got her hooked. So,
oh fuck, the legends of Cleverman and Kadachi Man in Australia are fucking white people across Australia have contempt for black Australians across Australia, right? But every fucking white person known, when they see a Featherfoot or a Kadachi Man, they fucking back the fuck up. They fucking let it just happen. And whatever the man needs, just get it done and hope that he walks away. And they usually do. There was one guy who was found asleep in a chicken coop. And the woman who was collecting the eggs just backed out of there, shut the chicken coop, and walked away. And she went back there next day, and there were eggs missing, and there was I think it was either tuppence or thruppence an egg, and neatly sitting on the egg boxes was enough money for the eggs that he took. He didn't steal; he just was hiding. He was hiding in amongst the feather and the leaf litter, and she said she nearly stepped on him, because and the only reason she saw him was he breathed out and the feather moved from his breath, and she just went, "Jesus, there's a guy sleeping here." Realized who it was, saw his boots. He had the emu feather boots on, and went, "I don't want to fucking. I'm not. Nope. I'm nope the fuck out of this."
Yeah.
There's been stories of people fucking camping in Australia, who fucking come out of their tent going, "Jesus, it's fucking cold. I think I'm going to put another log on the fire," only to find a featherfoot tending their fire and cooking up something over a stick. There you go, man.
Leave him to it. Yeah, Stella thinks she's had a featherfoot visit her. It's quite the experience.
Well, this is the other thing too. SBS did a series called Clever Man.
That was ABC, but yeah, that was a fictional Clever Man as superhero thing. Pacing was a bit slow, but I really liked it.
Well, apparently there are urban clever men. There are urban Kardashian men.
Well, not that they're going to tell us, but yeah.
Black fellas who are fucking, they're loud and they're brash and they're fucking boastful, and they'll fucking thump you. And they will, and they're fucking, I'll hit you and you stay hit. But the Kardashian men are very quiet, very unassuming. They can jump into accents here and there. They can, one of the things that's very annoying about a Kardashian is that you'll be chasing them down an alleyway and then they'll disappear, because they've always had the myth. I don't know if it's a myth. There's always
story.
Been
Let's say
the
story
that they fly, that the Kardashian men can fly, and that they can fly because they can get across country so very, very fast. They must have flown. Now, recently what they've found out is these guys are so highly trained that they can run 200 kilometers in a night. I can't do that, but they can run 200 kilometers in a night. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine doing that? And then doing an operation at the other end?
Yeah.
Maybe resting for a few hours and then running 200 kilometers back so that you are out of the frame. There's no way you could have done it, because there's no fucking way you could have got there and back.
Yeah. Tangayan in the chat. Do you know how to spell Kodaka Man? You could make it easier on yourself, dude, by searching Featherfoot or Clever Man. They're a bit easier to spell.
KADAITCHA.
Trouble being that's a translation from an indigenous language to English, and different people probably spell it differently as well. I fucking hate linguists. Have I ever said that? And this was specifically about indigenous languages. Linguists are fucking dickholes. I was thinking, who we used to listen to all the time at uni, Warumpi Band, and they would sing some songs in their own language, and they had a song, and I think it translated as sad and lonely. And in their language, it was Tilaru, Tilaru. And the way the fucking linguists decided that was spelled in English was TJLR. And it's like, you can't say those consonants.
You can't say that.
You fucking, and you listen to it, and it's Tilaru. And it's TILER or TJL. I could live with TJL because you're trying to get that accent in there.
Yeah,
it was not those 4 fucking consonants that you put in a row, you fucking wankers. Sorry, just out of left field, Angry goes off at linguists.
But, linguists have got a lot to fucking answer for, because there's a lot of language groups in Australia, and there's a lot of language that we could have used as Australians. We could have been quite easily a fucking trilingual or quadrilingual country.
Would have done us good if we were.
Hey?
Would have done us good if we were, because then you would have actually learned the words that meant food, and then a lot of people would have been much better off if they understood the sort of food that you could cultivate here, drought, flood, whatever, without ravaging the fucking landscape.
But if you understood language, right, you could quickly understand the political systems of our first peoples.
The interconnections, because you go, oh, wait, you guys that's 20 different languages up there, but if I speak this one language, you're all going to understand what I'm saying.
Right.
Because of the relationships.
The other thing that shits me to fucking tears angry, I'm getting on my high horse now.
Yeah, okay. 80s high horse. Here we go.
Right, is that they say, writing was from the Sumerians 20,000 years ago, and they did a fucking great job of writing. Yep. They did.
Yeah.
And they found message sticks that are 45,000 years old. And, of course, those message sticks go halfway across the continent. But, of course, they're just dots on a piece of stick, on a piece of stick, right? That's all they are. These are just pictograms on a piece of stick. Yeah. Wonder how the Chinese feel about pictograms on a piece of stick.
Exactly.
And of course, these message sticks aren't pictograms; they're dots in a pattern.
They're a language.
And of course, at the other end, the message stick is not much fucking good if you can't understand the message. And if you're 1,000 kilometers away from the reader, and in Australia, that's really easy to do. Yeah. Then somehow that message has got to get through. So I'm guessing writing. But no. And the French are still shitting themselves over fucking cave art found in
the cave paintings
in Australia that's 50,000 years old. And they're going, no, the Lascaux paintings are the oldest.
They're the oldest ones. Your ones are fake. Yeah.
Yeah. Yours is shit.
Fucking dicks.
Yeah, no, they're just they're clearly retouched. So we don't know what's under them. We do know what's under them. We do know how old they are, and we know from the stratigraphy that the writing sticks used to make those marks. There's one that's been found that's been 52,000 years old, and that's what fucking sent the French nuts. And they were fucking French all over, and they fucking hit it from every angle. They went first off, they went the science is shit. The scientists are only Australians, so they're obviously mentally defective. How can we expect these savages to understand anything about representational art? I was going, that's true. It's representational art to do with fucking lines of bioforce within an animal. You see the cuts of meat pictures of animals. It's all about fucking, you call it ki or chi or life force or chakra. Or it's about where the life force comes from the animal and why these things are sacred and how these things are passed down. I'll be back in a moment. But anyway, we would have understood the political system and we would have been able to more fully engage with the ways of farming, nurturing and building in Australia. Because can you imagine a technological culture that comes from a metal base, an industrial base, folding in with a culture that comes from a timing and weather base with a planning horizon of 1,000 years? You're starting to talk about terraforming. You're starting to talk about designing a continent, which was what these guys were doing. They
Yep.
basically reshaped the whole fucking place. They
Yep.
turned up, it was a rainforest.
Mm.
And you go, oh, rainforests are great. They've got biodiversity and they're great. Well, you can't eat much if there's nothing there that you can get hold of. So they burnt it down. Oh, well, that was dumb. They burnt down the whole forest. Well, no, they changed it.
Yeah.
They altered it. They fucking terraformed the fucking country so that in different areas, different things would thrive. And you could have a full plate for the whole year. I mean, there's this whole fucking myth going around that, that the blackfellas starved for half a year. And, sometimes they did. Sometimes there was terrible droughts that went for fucking 7-8 years. And they survived.
Yeah. Yeah, because they knew how to. Yeah.
Farms don't.
No.
Unless they get big loans from fucking banks. They don't.
Yeah.
And, fucking the other thing is they say, and Bill Blakey told me this, it doesn't mean anything to anyone. They estimate that our first people spent maybe 3 to 4 hours a day hunting, cultivating, and actually working. And the rest of the time they spent making art, communing with spirituality, or creating a stronger bond within the political, social, and religious systems of the people. There was specialist jobs and trades. There was a group of people whose job it was to follow the genetic lines of the people in the tribes around them, so that there wouldn't be inbreeding. And this is called skin groups. You weren't allowed to marry within or without certain skin groups, depending on who you were, because that increased the risk of genetic damage within the gene pool.
Yes.
And so groups owed a wife to these people, or they owed a husband to these people. And so corroborees were celebrations, but they were also get-togethers to swap the people that needed swapping. And you weren't promised to a person, but you were promised to a tribe. I'm going to come back with something very controversial. But
okay, you do that. You come back. What I want to bring up along the lines of what Aidsy was saying, a book I've mentioned multiple times on this stream, Bruce Pascoe's Dark Emu, which is absolutely fascinating, a real eye-opener. He went back to primary sources, the personal journals and letters of early colonizers in Australia, and basically uncovered abundant evidence of the degree of cultivation that the native people did before the colonizers got here. And the bit that to me is quite hilarious, when the colonizers saw areas that had been cultivated for generations, thousands of years by the local people, and there was an obvious order to it. The grasses which bore seed, which could be used to make flour. The trees were cultivated, so the trees were only in a particular area, so they didn't stop these sort of native rices from growing. And the colonizers in their journals repeatedly refer to how this natural landscape looks as beautifully cultivated as any park they've seen at home. And it blew their minds. Isn't nature wonderful? This all happened spontaneously. No, it didn't. You fucking and why did the local people start throwing fucking spears at you when you ran cattle through here, cloven-hoofed animals who in one generation destroyed thousands of years of cultivation, because they'd spent thousands of years cultivating it, and you were destroying it in an eye blink. And they thought, maybe if I throw pointy things at these fuckheads, they'll piss off. And but it's so funny. Repeatedly in their letters and journals, the first colonizers had references to this beautiful natural landscape that you would swear was cultivated like a park, because it fucking was, you numpties. But anyway.
And the thing is, like, people go, oh, you know, isn't nature wonderful? Not in Australia. Nature's not wonderful.
No, it's pretty brutal here.
Nature's fucking brutal, nasty, harsh, and it will kill you when it gets a second chance. If you're not looking, it will come up and snatch you, and you're fucking. It's so fast and so brutal that you're dead really quick. You run out of water, bye. You run out of sunscreen, see you later. You run out of food. That's a hard way to go. You drink the wrong water. You eat the wrong animal. You eat the wrong plant. So many clever ways to die. Lizards are harmless, but they will bite you and infect you, and you'll die in 3 days, shivering and in agony. Most animals. Somebody asked, are the koalas always that cute, or are they bastards? They're bastards. The ones you see being patted by celebrities are sedated by park rangers. If you try and grab a koala from a tree or try and pat a koala, it will scratch you and piss in the wound.
I was about to say, I'll piss on you. Yeah.
And the urine is almost
it's
pure
corrosive.
bacterial water.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's corrosive because of the fucking eucalyptus content.
It's got eucalyptus bacteria in it. It'll hit your wound, and in 3 days, you'll die of sepsis. Most Australian animals are built on the idea that I might as well fight because I might get up. I'll probably die.
Yeah.
But if I don't fight, I will die. I will absolutely die. So I might as well fight. I probably won't get up, but I might. And I know that I will do you enough damage so that you and yours will never do anything to me and mine again. I'll die today, but my children will never be attacked by another dingo. That will never happen. Because they see what happened when they went that fucking lizard, animal, snake, whatever. And they know don't fucking get involved in any of that. Everything runs along those fucking lines. It's funny, you see fucking frillneck lizards which are that big, you know, on your screen, actual size, and their frills are like that big, and they'll see a Land Rover coming down a road at them, and they'll get up and they'll frill. And go, come on, cunt, fucking I'll have a fucking go at you. And it's like you're, you know what, Americans, 6 inches, you're 12 centimeters of fucking pure aggression. And you have no chance.
I'm small, but I'm feisty.
You have no chance against this Land Rover. But you know that around campfires in the middle of Australia is the legend of the one frillneck lizard who got stuck up in the fan belt and busted the radiator and killed the Land Rover for our people, for our children, and for our future. And we remember Frilly, who was a bad bastard, used to pick on his woman. But he did it. He did it for Australia, and everything in Australia is like that. You know, they say that the First Nations people, you know, the Indigenous people are tough. Yeah, tough. They're people, but they're hierarchical. And they also say that everyone likes to say, oh, you know, they live in this circle of sharing and everyone's equal. They're not fucking equal. There's nothing. There's nothing equal. There is a very specific fucking hierarchical order very specific, and you
Yeah.
fucking know where you are in it, and you know who can tell you what to do, and you will fucking do it. And effectively, what is shared is everything. All food is shared, and it is shared up. If you are low tier, my folks did some work out in the middle of Australia, and then they seen this little kid with a can of Pringles, and all the other kids come up to this kid, and this kid quite happily handed a Pringle out to each kid that approached him. And his can of Pringles was fucking eroded down to almost fuck all, but the rest was his. But everybody got one, and everybody gets one, but you only get one. And you're expected to put in. Everyone's expected to put in, and people have noticed that these folks are very harsh when people die. They're very taciturn, very stoic. No, they're not. What it is that when that lower echeloned people die all the time. That's their job. Higher echeloned people don't die all the time. They're protected and they're fed first, because they have all of the knowledge and they have all of the fucking law and they have all of the fucking they have all of the technology that progresses us forward. So they must be protected. And you get townships in the middle of Australia where a senior person gets sick, so they get kidney disease, and if there's no dialysis near them, then they have to move virtually to Alice Springs or to Darwin, and the whole fucking community goes because half their entourage goes with them, and this can be up to 50 people goes with them to make sure that they're serviced correctly. That fucking pulls the guts out of town. So there's a big push on at the moment in the Lions Club. It's called the Purple House Initiative, and it's to take mobile and more widely spaced dialysis around the Central Australia, because the folks of Central Australia were taken off the fucking land and put in missions and told to eat properly like the white man, and they'd come off a very high protein, high vitamin diet onto white man garbage, which is boiled in nothing. And now, of course, they've got to buy this chemical white bread at $7 a loaf with the dole payment. And up until recently, they were getting charged $12 for every ATM withdrawal. Nice.
Oh, there are a lot of fucking scams in remote communities.
And so, they're basically feeding their kids chips and fat. Aboriginal folks, Indigenous folks put on fat very quickly. The idea is that if you're in a big long drought, you can survive a big long drought. I put on fat very quickly. I only eat once a day, except I'm going to eat twice a day because I'm naughty. And I get fat very, very quickly. Angry's noticed it. When I'm off my game and I'm not really onto it mentally, I'll eat and I'll fucking blow up. I'll put on a stone in a month. Easy. And then I'm going to take it all off again. And basically these guys get fat, they get diabetes, they don't know they've got diabetes, and the kidneys fail. And all of a sudden they need to be dialyzed. And it's wildly fucked if they were on the diet that they were on before the missions. Fucking live long, healthy fucking lives. Oh yeah, but they had short and brutal lives. Their maximum life expectancy was 30. Bullshit.
Hmm.
80 was common for upper class individuals. Was very common, and there was very little instance of um, Alzheimer's. There was dementia. Um, Everyone loses it when they get old, but uh, they were very healthy for a very long time. Um, Bacterial infections were countered with antibiotic medicines that they had. Viral infections would kill them off real quick. Broken bones, if they could be seen to by proper military medical triage, they could fix that. Um, if they couldn't be seen to quickly enough, yeah, the shock would kill them. They had pain-killing drugs which were very effective. Um, there's a plant in Australia that is Australian cocaine. It grows wild in the northern half of Australia. It's everywhere, and in New South Wales, it's banned. Banned as fuck, actually. You go to really jail for it, but it's so endemic in the northern half of Australia. You just can't pretend to ban it, so they just don't talk about it. And processed right, it's better than South American cocaine. It's suspected that that was one of the medicine plants that they used to treat warriors with very bad injuries. Uh, because in the big civil wars, the North won and the East won. And so what they suspect was that the North and East had better access um, to emergency medicine plants,
Hmm.
and the wise women to use them. Um, the the Yeah, look, there's so much. There's just so much that we're only just starting to just find out now. I was given really, really special access to some secret men's business,
Hmm.
and told not to deliver that to the uninitiated or to women. Um, and you hear stuff like that, and you go, "Oh, that's just to keep hold of your bit of power." But then when you hear what it actually is, you go, "No, that's to protect the people who hear it."
Yeah.
Um, because to hear that stuff and to understand it um, is such a radical shift in mental thinking that if you're not ready for it, it'll fuck you up. You'll go nuts. And the way women think and the way men think are very different, and not better or worse, different
Different.
and deliberately different. Remember that they're genetically designed to walk around in bands of people, women and men together, so that whatever's hiding in the grass to try and eat us is found by the women or the men. And then we communicate to one another that there's a danger or that there's an opportunity, and that we pick it up, and nothing can hide from a human. That our technology is different deliberately because it's complementary. Men and women are complementary to one another, and as
Hmm.
a result, we think differently about things. We think outside different shaped boxes. Um, so the controversial bit: in most nomadic societies, homosexuality is legal and punishable by death because you're not making babies for the good of the tribe. Um, on the other hand, if you have a trade or a specialization that you're good at and you're gay, they tend to leave you alone. Lots of evidence that lots of areas in Australia had death penalty for homosexuality. Lots of areas didn't. Lots of areas had the accommodation of homosexuality. They weren't allowed to live in the main camp, and there was a feeling that probably not now, but given an opportunity, that homosexuals would be pedophiles. So they were to live away from the main camp. But if they were good enough at what they did, they were allowed to live within the main group. And there is a suggestion that a lot of these young fellas were also trained as Kadaicha because they weren't much good for anything else. The Kadaicha is a very solitary lifestyle. You can expect to be running around the bush on your own for a long time, taking out whoever you're told to. When the bone gets pointed at you, you go off and die. The Kadaicha man makes sure the bone does its job. And every culture has its special forces. They were the special forces of Australia. They still exist. I mean, let's get real. They still exist. We know they do. There's too much mysterious shit goes on in the fringes of Australian Aboriginal culture that people just disappear. Oh well, Labos disappear all the time. They're intransigent. They're homeless. They're drug addicts. They were seen on Monday, and then their routine stopped. Fucking slow down. We haven't found them, and you're not gonna. Fucking in the rural places, it's the same story. They went to Perth, and sometimes the cops are in a fucking bad situation, in a tough situation, because they want to go after this bloke, and he's a bad bastard, and he's a horrible turd, and he should be locked up. Because every fucking sad day his missus is in the fucking in the base hospital again, fucking with broken bones around her face and chin, and it's like, fuck's sake. And then one day he's not around anymore. Where'd he go? Oh, he went off cotton picking. Oh, cotton chipping. Did he? He hasn't worked a day in his fucking life. No. They said that he should go off and do cotton chipping to take care of his family. Right. Does he send a letter back? No. Right.
He was never much of a writer. Yeah.
Yeah, never much of a writer. Yeah, so he's just gone. He's just gone away. And it's the same. It's the whole old story. It's the human story. You can be a bad bastard, but when you piss off the wrong person,
you can
the
disappear.
fucking government comes after you and you're fucked.
Yeah.
Always pay your tax.
It's whatever form that may take.
Exactly. So many times you hear Indigenous groups protesting that there's a mine going on their land. Fair enough, they're protesting. But then you hear that the mining company signed a deal with the co-owners of the Indigenous community. And then you hear that, no, that's fucking, no, they had no authority to do that. And it's like, hang on a second, what's going on here clearly is one family's gained ascendancy over the other and done the deal. And the other one fucking is trying to argue the toss. and you get that all the fucking time. A lot of nuclear protests back in the day used to get fucking derailed by the black fella coming in going, this isn't about fucking nuclear mining, it's about land rights. It's like, no, it was about nuclear mining. It was always about that. And then fucking 3/4 of the group would disappear and fucking, I was convinced one time I was in a protest organised and this black fella come in and fucking reasserted that this wasn't anything to do with French bombs. It was all to do with land rights. And I thought, this doesn't smell right. He's pissed, by the way. And this doesn't smell right. And this group just whittled away to nothing. And he stopped coming. And I thought, I wonder if he...
Anyway, bedtime.
It is bedtime. It is bedtime.
So I hope you all enjoyed those little insights. A little bit different tonight, but we like to be different. We like to focus differently on different times. Hope you enjoyed that. Maybe see you again. Maybe see you again tomorrow. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows what tomorrow brings?
Who knows? It might be good stuff.
I'm hoping for good stuff. I actually have to go to the dentist tomorrow, so what effect that has on me remains to be seen. I'm still planning to be here, but who fucking knows?
Who fucking knows, man?
But you all take good care of yourselves, and we'll catch you again.